Hey guys, so yesterday I filmed the prologue to this book, The Knot of Time, and basically it shows how the goddess mother, Barbello, Sophia, whatever you want to call her, the goddess mother, she created, it talked about her, how she created these 12 sisters, the 12 zodiac sign archetypes as sisters, and let's say God, or the source creation emanation point of the emanator, let's say God, he created the 12 zodiac signs as boys, okay? On the masculine side, we can call him Deus Pater. So anyway, so the sky goddess, she created the 12 sisters, right? So that's what the prologue is about. The sisters went into the world, and first of all, in the creation, this is basically, in the beginning, it says in the beginning, it literally says that in the prologue, but in the beginning, in order for spirit to create anything or to move in the void, spirit has to have something relative to move towards or to move from, so there has to be something in order to relate that movement to. Otherwise, what is movement? What are they moving if there's no reference point? So spirit has to project itself in 6 different directions: up, right, left, down, toward, forward and back, right? And once projected in 6 directions, right, it'll build a square around itself, a square with diamonds, and this is all counterspatial point, masculine angular lines. Once you spin it or rotate it, rotatora, rotary, astor, once you rotate it, it becomes the feminine, okay? And astor, again, take all that word, rota becomes also the ator, rota, Torah, Toro. And again, the tent, the sky tent, right? It's basically a tent in the sky that encapsulates the earth and the heavens together in one big organism or mechanism. So once the parameters are established, right? Once parameters are established, there's a dreidel. You spin the dreidel, and then you create the multiverse. And it creates a torus field. It creates a torus field, basically, is what it does. It creates a torus field. And back to the book. So the mother created these sisters, and the sisters went on their jolly way. And they each were the zodiac signs where they had their archetypes in the world. So us, people, we were displaying the archetypes or the attributes of the sine wave, because all there is principle and attributes. The principle would be source at the middle of the torus field, and the torus itself, circle and circle, circle, circle. Torus is literally like 2 circles. You can see the torus symbol in here. So torus would be that, right? And it would be getting back to the sisters, right? So the sisters, years passed. So I'm going to read the epilogue today. And basically, after years passed, thousands of years passed, the world was ruined because the negative parts of the zodiac signs were projected by humans. And let me get to the epilogue, okay? So time passed, and the 12 sisters saw and heard that all was not well on earth. They discovered the existence of war, torture, rape, imprisonment, and slavery. They found out that the riches piled up while other people starved, right? They saw the beautiful earth herself spoiled, and they watched lives cramped and empty of the joy of self-expression. It took time for them to take in their shock at this state of affairs. So after many thousands of years grieving, they all held council together. All right, so what did they say? Aries emphasized activity and courage. So humankind worshipped action and glorified war. We're going to go over the negative, I guess, the more brutal and negative and torturous sides of the signs that is holding humanity back. So Aries emphasized activity and courage and a whole bunch of other stuff, bloodshed, war. So that's what the humans worship. They glorified war and action. And be a man, and having authority, be very violent with people, and people be very violent towards each other. And Taurus overemphasized value and beautiful possessions, so everyone wanted what's best for themselves and were greedy. Gemini taught people how to manipulate, right? That they only cared They only care. Gemini taught people how to manipulate the truth. Okay, and made them restless for novelty, new things, trivial stuff, and again, can be a gossiper, Gemini. They said Cancer taught love and security, so that people only cared about the closest people to them, their family, and tribalism in a way. They held tightly to them even when they needed to leave. So again, hoarding, overprotective, hoarding, family drama, that's all Cancer, childhood trauma, stuff like that. Leo, they accused Leo of teaching people to crave importance and power. They said she ignored the humble. Look at me, notice me, validate me, me. Similar to Aries. Aries also has that energy. I'll get into that later. So, Virgo invented drudgery, and that from that, people lost overall design by looking too much into detail. So Virgo is the details, right? But don't lose yourself with the little details. Look at the big picture, Virgo, and don't over criticize and over discern, and it'll get you stuck. Libra, they said Libra. I always think of the dove when I think of Libra, and then Scorpio, the next sign, like the serpent. So Libra made her temple of harmony so attractive that people wish to live in romantic illusions about love, avoiding all the struggle. So that's what Libra can do too. Oh, look at this. Spirituality is beautiful. It's so beautiful and peaceful and blah, blah, blah. Where's the shadow self, the shadow work? Where are you dealing with people that lost, that are mourning? That's spirituality. People that are in pain. Going into comas and near-death experiences, and struggling with addiction or any type of addiction, not just drugs. That's the true spirituality too. The ugly, the gutter, the crying out to God and saying, please help me, give me another reason to live. That is true spirituality, the gutter, and of course the stories in the Bibles and all the great literatures, texts of religions, they deal with people that are in pain, people that need help, people that are outcasts. Anyway, so Virgo, yes, Virgo. Libra, the temple of illusions. They wish to live in the romantic illusions about love, avoiding the struggle. Get into the shadow work, all right? And Scorpio had fascinated people with dangerous ideas about death, sex, power, pulling them into morbid introspection. They said Sagittarius wanted people to become fanatics. Remember, Sagittarius is the belief system. Become fanatics. People spoke of the arrogance of their fervent beliefs, of explorers who trampled all over newfound lands. And of course, Sagittarius is the explorer, is foreign land, is faraway lands. It's the arrow. It's always in the sky. It's never here. Sagittarius is always there. The grass is always greener with Sagittarius. Sagittarius rules belief systems. It rules anything that deals with higher wisdom, higher knowledge, cultures, different people, different countries, different languages, stuff like that. So Capricorn encouraged people to repress the imagination in order to manage and control their environment. They had said Aquarius lived only in the future. Aquarius is the future sign, and ignored the present. And that life was becoming unbalanced by a constant and dangerous inventions. Again, AI. AI can take over the game. AI can take over the game. Aquarius rules futuristic technology. Pluto's there right now. Very strong. It's trine Uranus and Gemini. Uranus is one of the rulers. It's also sextile Saturn, one of the ruler of Aquarius. Sextile Saturn in Aries. So you're dealing with the outer planets all communicating harmoniously to each other. There's something big cooking for the next couple years. Life-changing. Aquarius rules the community, so the community's changing too. So they said Pisces led people to escape into meaningless dreams. They spoke the excesses of martyrdom, self-sacrifice, addiction to suffering. And that's what Pisces is. It's one of the most spiritual signs because of that. Lost people. And also you have to lose yourself in order to see God, to meet God. You starve yourself. You fast. You go on a mission. You lost a loved one. You are lost and confused. You lost the meaning of life. All these things are when you have a certain push. There's a push. The angels or God or your inner or your higher self is pushing you to go through the trouble, to go through the pain, to explore the pain within, because that's where the growth really is. That's where the shadow work really is. Okay, so as time passed, okay, so they all had their flaws. They all had their flaws. As time passed, let's get to the healing part. They went to the bottom of the abyss. You know, they were in despair. They all were confused and lost. So Aries was the one who screamed. Aries was the one who screamed. The first sign of the zodiac, the angry sign, the sign that wants to start something. So Aries screamed in rage. Aries is rage, Mars, right? The first sign. So Aries screamed in rage and despair where everyone else heard her. And they were terrified that Aries actually screamed that loud. She wanted to start. Mars, remember Mars, action, start new. And Scorpio, it reverberated all to Scorpio, the next Mars sign. It is a quincunx, 150 degrees away, but it's also the next sign that's ruled by Mars and Pluto. So Scorpio heard it, and Scorpio rose up and said, "Sisters, I would like to take you somewhere we've never been before, where the air explodes, the fire burns, the ground runs hot like water." So mixing all the elements. Scorpio's the healer, all right, the alchemist, the one that goes into the dark pits of the abyss. It rules death and other people's money, other people's value and worth. And Scorpio's like, I need to take all the signs to go into the abyss, to go into the caves, to go into the volcano. So the sisters go into the volcano, basically. So Scorpio took them somewhere. And again, Scorpio is the other Mars sign, so they're both taking action. They're walking, they're journeying into a dry place, like they're climbing up a mountain. And by the way, as they're doing this journey, Pisces, the last sign, the most spiritual sign, remember Aries screamed, and now Pisces is feeling the pain of the brothers. She can feel the pain of the sisters and the brothers and everyone in the world. And she knows that, okay, this is going to hurt where Scorpio, fellow water sign, is taking us. It's going to hurt, but it's necessary for the next step in the cycle of self. And the cycle of, you know, the let's say the yugas, the ages, okay? And so eventually the sisters walked all the way towards a volcano. And, of course, Capricorn and Cancer, the mountain and the summit, right? Capricorn's the mountain climber. You know, Capricorn can be down here, or it can also be up there, depending on which side of the chart you're looking at. The 10th house Capricorn is usually at the top of the chart, the midheaven. And then the time of the day, the daily hour chart, Cancer would be at the top. So anyway, Cancer and Capricorn represent the mom and dad, the mother, father, the solstice points, right? So this is wave amplitude, Cancer, Capricorn, while Aries and Libra is the equator, equal, even. Aries, Libra, 12 hours daytime, 12 hours nighttime. Libra, right there in the middle, 12 hours daytime, 12 hours nighttime. So that's why it's, the analemma, Cancer, Capricorn. Cancer, Capricorn. So the highest and lowest, they went to the summit, they went to the volcano, which, by the way, volcano is this guy. It's Hephaestus, Vulcan. The archetype of the smith, the god of the smiths, the forgers, the forge, the blacksmiths, the metallurgists. And Hephaestus is basically Vulcan, and he works with the Cyclopeans. The Cyclopeans are always in the cave, which is, you know, the subconscious mind where we have our fears. This is the story of Odysseus, the Odyssey. And this is Greek mythology. Hephaestus was like infertile, I guess, and Venus was married to him, but she would always cheat on him with Aries, with Mars. So Vulcan is Tubal-Cain as well. Hephaestus and Tubal-Cain. Tubal-Cain is the Facebook logo. People say, oh, how does Tubal-Cain affect me? How does any of this stuff affect me? Well, you're using Facebook, and that's the Facebook logo, Tubal-Cain. What does it mean? It's the forge, the god of the forge. So, again, Scorpio going into the abyss, taking, all the sisters to that Capricorn-Cancer summit. The highest point next to the mountain is the valley. You can read the symbolism of mountains and valleys. Very interesting. And so that's where the healing began. So Capricorn stood still near the rim of the water, near the rim of the crater. I can feel the earth moving beneath my feet. Earth sign, Capricorn. As I feel it, I realize that this is our mother. This is our mother too. So the Mother Earth is moving. As much as the lovely valley, it was not easy to recognize this truth, for they sensed that the mountaintop might blow at any moment. Cancer said, as I stand here, I am aware we can call forth destruction, that from despair we could wish for it, and then everything we love would be destroyed. These are the cardinal signs, Cancer and Capricorn. Earth and water, yes, they're feminine, but they're still cardinal. They're very active, and they can be dangerous and protective, very protective. They would fight for their family and loved ones, Cancer, Capricorn, extremely. So Virgo says, yes, we are all frightened clearly. Very logical, Virgo. That is wise and justified, yet we have come here for transformations. Virgo, hardcore. Right, Virgo is right before is the Virgin, right before she goes into Libra to be, to be evolved into Scorpio. See, Virgo is right there. It's the last of the daytime signs, about to get F-U-C-K, about to get fucked, about to lose virginity, you lose purity as it goes into Libra, the nighttime, the darkness. As you see, it's a vaginal canal. It's like that. Or you could say it's closed. The M is closed, and once it passes through Libra, which is the sign of relationships, then you can see the phallic symbol. That's vaginal, a feminine. This is phallic. And this is in the underworld. This is all the nighttime signs. Daytime signs, nighttime signs. Anyway, so Virgo is there, ready for the transformation. Sagittarius said, hey, I believe, Sagittarius is Jupiter, belief systems, ideologies. Sagittarius said, I believe we can find a new way with our pains and our anger. So we can transform that, right? Libra said it will mean going beyond blame to find true justice. Libra needs to find true justice and not blame the open enemies. Libra's open enemies. Find justice, Libra, the scales of justice. So then Aquarius, they were all sitting in stillness, like a fixed sign, right? And then Aquarius, fixed there, wandered aloud and said, how can we make justified, or how can we make a just world without guilt and blame? We can try to become different people, but that's not going to work. Better for us to face and accept what we are. We each know that we have one thing best. We do one thing best. Aquarius knows they do one thing best. Okay? So community. Aquarius is where they have to work together to build community. Right off the bat. So then they did. And I'll get to the point. So Aries, oh, by the way, Leo started dancing. They all started syncing up together, right? So Aries says, I will dedicate myself to the righteous struggle. I shall be the warrior until the earth is healed. Taurus said, I dedicate myself to knowing the earth's needs. I shall be the caretaker until earth is healed. And by the way, all of these, we can all utilize this as a healing guide to ourselves and others, and to bring out the zodiac signs within us, the higher sides. So Gemini said, Gemini cried, I dedicate myself to increasing and understanding between people. I shall be the interpreter, right? The interpreter, the translator, right? Dealing with languages. So, and understanding patterns and everything, interpreting more than just language. Cancer cried out, I dedicate myself to recognizing vulnerability. I shall be the protector. But of course, the home, the family, the mother. When we're born from the mother's wombs, we need protection. We can't survive on our own. We need breasts. Breast milk. We came from the mother's private areas. That's all Cancer. Leo's next. I dedicate myself to the celebration of life. Leo's a sperm, by the way, as you can see. It's creation. I dedicate myself to life, to the celebration of life. I shall be the playmaker. So Leo's the actor, the dancer, the singer. Virgo. Virgo cried out, I dedicate myself to truth. To truth. And I shall be its servant, the servant of truth. Right? Again, mutable signs. 1, 2, 3, 4. The mutable signs are the wise, smart, more nervous, more in their head, ruled by Mercury, Jupiter, but they're very wise. And they seek out, new facts to learn. So Libra, now we get to the underworld, the underside. Libra, the middle of the zodiac, the calibration point, as you can see, the calibration, equilibrium. Libras means pounds, LBS. Libra said, I shall be the bringer of peace, and dedicated itself to justice, true justice, pacification, peace. Scorpio cried out, I dedicate myself to the righteous, to the right use of power. I shall be the transformer. That's why it's death and rebirth. Part of you dies here and gets reborn. Because we never die. The body might, but we never die. The essence, manomayakaya. The mind will always make, or the mind of or the essence of you will always make a body so it can have something in relation to itself, so it can move and travel, whatever realm you're in. So, Mr. Manomayakaya, where was I? The mind's eye, right? The mind making an eye and a reference point so you can move. So, Scorpio dedicated itself to the transformer. Sagittarius cried out, I dedicate myself to wisdom. I shall be the believer. And, of course, the truth seeker. And Capricorn said, I shall be the organizer, dedicating ourselves to survival, the responsible one, the father figure, the responsible one, the one that's the master of the craft as well. Aquarius cried out, I shall be the prophet, dedicated to a future of equality. And Aquarius will get the group, the community together to work together. For that, what's right, what's fair, what's equality. Pisces cried out, I am dedicating myself to the oneness of our experience. I am the dreamer of all dreams. And then finally Gemini has to be the last one to speak, right? Gemini. The Gemini rules words and speaking and communicating. So Gemini spoke and realized with surprise that she had been unusually silent except for her words of commitment. I am learning how to listen. So Gemini is learning how to listen, because Gemini's always talk. So, and I know that because I'm a Gemini moon and I have a lot of planets in the house of Gemini, house 3, including my Mercury and a ruling Jupiter, and my ruling sign Venus, Libra rising. So I have a lot of stuff in the 3rd house, including ruling planets. So I know this Gemini energy very well. And Gemini realized she's learning how to listen. I am the one who hears messages, and I know we are not alone in this healing. So basically, they all healed, and it was a lovely end of the story, which is not too lovely because we're still healing. We still have a lot of healing to do. And I'm going to make a video next about the elements. Take care, guys.